Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the May 5th Cinco de Mayo episode of Partner First, where we're going to standardize, secure, and scale with automation, presented by Liongard. As always, these are recorded. This is a live chat with all of our OIT family in YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and everywhere else in the MSP world. And this recording will be available immediately after we're done on YouTube and the other places. But this is live. This is interactive. We want to hear what you do if you use Liongard, if you don't use Liongard, and why you don't. What questions you may have. We are going to go through a live demo and hopefully get all those questions knocked away so you can become a better, faster, more efficient MSP. And today I am joined by dun 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 dun. There we go. By Benjamin Coley of Liongard. How you doing, Benjamin?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain. So tell us about your role at Liongard, how long you've been there, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben Coley here. I'm an account manager, a couple different areas, Canada East, North Central, other places in the US. Been with Liongard about 2 years, started as a BDR, and yeah, I'm loving it over here. Before that, I was good at Ingram Micro. I was a manager there with HPE. Slinging servers in distribution is not as fun as it sounds. So I got out into the MSP space, and it's a lot more fun over here.
You got out before the chip shortage, huh?
Yeah, right before. Yes, I did.
So Liongard. Let's do a little background on what Liongard is, right? Because the MSP world has probably 17,000 tools for everything. And Liongard is one of those. There's good vendors, there's bad vendors. We're not going to call out anybody, but I've yet to hear anybody say anything negative about Liongard, which in the MSP world where everybody has very strong opinions, that's a rarity. I was definitely excited to have you guys on. So tell us, what is Liongard? What are MSPs using Liongard for? What problems do you solve?
So Liongard's there, and it was started. I should start with the story of two guys that owned their own MSP. They did all their schooling, to become engineers and technicians, run an MSP, and they got frustrated with the amount of documentation they had to do. They want to solve problems. They don't want to type everything after, and they don't want to do that. But it's very important to maintain and be on top of. So they created Liongard a couple years ago to solve that, to be the best friend of a technician, to capture all that documentation that's happening in the corners of an environment that you just can't keep up with. And there's a lot of benefits, obviously, to that when you have accurate documentation, when things are changing. We help give you alerts. And we really just help be a great kind of partner to the MSP to make their life easier. So you don't have to focus on documentation. You can work with work with the customer rather than on them, right? And help kind of continue to drive your business that way rather than just typing things into your database.
I remember that from my
Yeah.
CCIE days, and I want to call out a comment already from Alex Farling of Lifecycle Insights. I'll say it for you, Ray. Liongard's a good vendor, and that's coming from another good vendor, right? Like Lifecycle is one of our near and dear friends.
Yep.
So you know, I remember this back from my background. I was a network engineer, still am. Right? It doesn't go away. But back in my CCIE days, I remembered it was build your configs, push your configs to production, test your configs, and then the missing step that probably 2 out of every 3 engineers missed was document your configs on your platform so that you remember next time, so you have proper change management. Right? I'm not going to say we weren't always all adhering to the ITIL practices, but which was always frustrating, right? Because when you did a new change, it was the more experienced of us knew back up and have an original config before you push the new one, because you may have to do a diff to see what was going on. Because the documentation platform wasn't always the best. But we're talking automated documentation, which I kind of love. I wish this was a thing back in my day, and back in the days of Moses. So
Yeah, it's the configuration drift, right? It's just
yeah.
happening out there like crazy, and even back in the day, you had a lot you had to document. So the automation's there to help, and there's a lot of cool stuff that I look forward to showing everyone today to kind of get your mind to maybe thinking about how Liongard, can help and improve those things.
Something I learned a long time ago. One of the scariest things you can hear an engineer say is, "Oh, that's a quick fix," because quick fix means they're not testing, they're not documenting, they're just doing it. And as fun as it sounds, not so great. So you want to start off with the presentation? Or you want to start off with the demo? What are we doing?
Yeah, we'll start with the presentation, a couple short
Okay,
little slides that can flow through, give very high level information to Liongard, and then can dive into the demo and show everyone a little more.
awesome.
So everyone gets to see my beautiful face right there. This is me. So again, Ben Coley, and there's a couple others here from Liongard that will help, in the chat. Ty Smith and Sheila are also here to help answer your questions along the way. So Liongard is really here to help with this chaos, right? We're just talking about it. Today's IT landscape, looks like this, and your day can look a lot like this. With you in the middle, just saying there's so much coming at me. You have all these different systems. Your stack is getting more complex, as things continue to grow. There's different sign-ins for every single one of these. There's different sign-ins you got to look at, and then after 4 hours of not using something, it'll kick you out, and you have to sign back in multiple times in a day. And on the average, a client has 20 systems that you're responsible for. And that doesn't sound like much, but again, when there's all that constant change and when your focus is on driving the business, on getting your employees going, on trying to just find employees nowadays, that stuff can kind of go by the wayside. And it's 2022, right? Let's add some automation to our game and help make your life easier. And it's very frustrating. I've heard that your customer will never get a better experience than what your technicians have. And this is a good way of helping to give a better experience internally. Now it is
I'm
nearly
looking here and I'm like,
nope.
did you go into my office and just ask my engineers for all the stuff we're using? Because I'm looking here, I'm like, yeah, we have that, we have that, we have that. And if we start adding my data centers, we have that too, we have that too. But you're
Yep.
right. It's documentation's a common pain point. It's just there's so much stuff, and
Right.
your practices of standardization change over the years, right? Like how
Right.
much and what you want to document. So
Yeah. And there's a lot of change going on with technicians out there. People being promoted, people leaving. One person may have documented something one way, someone else is doing it another way, and they don't have notes for that, right? There's a lot of unwritten knowledge in the MSP world of, how to manage all of it. And it's chaotic, right? And we want to
yeah.
try to streamline that for you. Um, and yes, your employees let me into your office when you weren't there because they said Ray needs some help.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. This is so
Yeah,
much more clean. Okay, I like this slide better. This is
this
better
is
for my OCD.
this is helping all the OCDs, kind of align things out there for you. With documentation, you don't need to worry about the different standards or different ways that a technician will do it. Or again, someone maybe fat fingering or messing something up. We
Mm-hmm.
streamline it and standardize your documentation. And it's a system and a tool that you can get all of your data from one place, right? The ability to standardize, secure, and scale your business by knowing and trusting that this is in here, is really going to help out.
That
And then,
mythological single pane of glass for all your
yep,
information. You're
yep,
telling me that really exists?
dragons do exist. Yes, mythological, they are there. Komodo dragons. So
You
it
just
is
heard
it
you
is
just
not a
heard it
myth.
here. Ben is the father of dragons. Okay. So,
Yep. And at Liongard, those dragons roar.
nice.
What will
Nice.
the great thing, we also even push it into your PSA, right? Push it into your IT Glue, Narmada, Hoodoo, even IT Boost. We can get the data in there for you. Um, Streamlining this data from all these different systems, allowing you to bounce across different systems data or different customers, and find that information you need is really going to be helpful. You no longer need to worry about having 10 different windows open with different systems, different portals, different accesses. You can have Liongard up there in your PSA and just go to work, and helping your customers. And we have,
So
Breakage, Power BI. We have other cool reporting integrations we have.
well, because that's kind of the trifecta, right? It's not one thing is to gather all the information, then you have the thing to standardize the information, And then the third part is making use of the information, right? It's not
Right.
most technicians, that's the really difference between the technician and architect. The technician will look at documentation because they're trying to solve a problem today. And architects looking at the grand scheme of things and saying, okay, well, what are we building for the future? And documentation is a key component of that.
Right.
So being able to alert off things, being able to do reporting, build trends, see what's going on. I mean, I love that, especially at the executive level. I'm all about the reports. I don't want to do the work anymore.
Right.
Let the smart
Right.
people do the work. I want pretty gauges and stuff.
Right.
So,
It's the analytics, right? You see it
yeah.
in anyone who's a sports fan is seeing, analytics going into their sports world and really
Hmm.
assessing and finding those trends differently. Liongard gives you the ability to easily see the same and kind of start getting that information. I have a Fitbit on. I'm sure 90% of the viewers out there have some form of Fitbit or Apple Watch that's
Hmm.
constantly assessing their own data, and that's kind of what Liongard does is give you that ability. But we're also like a doctor where we're going to give you that in-depth view as well, of what's going on. I think Forbes recently put out that data is now more valuable than gold, right? With what you can do with data. So
That's the
it's
current gold rush,
quite
right? Like all
important.
the best
Yep.
companies that are getting all the funding for everything. It's these companies that are not only becoming the data warehouse for everything. That's obviously the gold mine, but in addition, the ones that are making use of that data
Right.
to, make business data-driven decisions. It's such a huge thing right now. So
Yep.
you're saying you're going to make every one of these MSPs doctors because they have the prescription for success. Is that what I feel we're going to go down a very punny road at this point.
Yeah. Maybe I won't call them doctors. Maybe they'll be like animal tamers. Maybe
Okay.
something like that. Because you don't want to treat your business like they're all pets, right? You kind of want to
I
treat them a little
I
differently.
I was this close to bringing like my safari hat and a whip. I mean, I was this close. So don't tempt me. And we have Alex Farling in the chat, who's just as bad as at dressing up and going the punny route. So all right. So what are we looking at here? Automated documentation, alerts, metrics, lots of words. What does it mean?
Yeah, these are the three pillars of Liongard. We give you a timeline of the data, so you can go back 18 months to be able to go
Wow.
back. If you're PCI HIPAA compliant, you have to go back in time to do an audit. We're going to give you a snapshot of how all of those configurations were set up. But our three pillars are, automated documentation. It's updated. You can trust it. Again, it's now a standardized process. You don't need to write an SOP for your text on how they need to write an SOP to standardize documentation. Our actionable alerts will give you those awesome alerts in the corners. So stale users, bad passwords, right? That's a big thing I'm sure a lot of people are thinking of because hackers are no longer hacking in, they're logging into systems because stale users are left out there. But the alerts could even be on things of, you know, your 3389 or RDP port left open, which that was how that Okta breach recently happened. Was a senior
Hmm.
technician, doing the full days of work, had a lot on his plate, got it all done, and he had his laptop at home and he accidentally left, that port open, and that's how that big breach happened. Things happen
Well,
not on purpose. It's human error, right? And just we're here to
I
help
have
with
to
that.
imagine that Excel sheet with the passwords. That's while it is documentation, I'm really hoping that wasn't some automation that was spitting out Excel sheets with passwords.
Yeah,
So
hopefully not. You won't get that from us, though. I can tell you that.
yeah, there you go.
We are read only. We are not management, so we're not going in and grabbing passwords or anything. Just for security, we are read only, pulling back read only data. Um, and then the last one, the reporting and metrics. We were just talking about that. It's if we're going to give you a data warehouse, it's now the aspect of turning that into analytics and being able to take better valuable data into your QBRs, into your customer's environment, and being able to talk, just with better confidence into what's going on everywhere, and kind of not being thrown off. And the main thing is it's the data you can trust, organized, purpose built to help you with actionable format, and that's all one place, which is Liongard.
I
I'm
love
gonna,
it, and it's pushing out to that PSA RMM
yep,
documentation platform, whatever they're using. So they
yep,
don't have to go to the Lion Guard platform if they don't want to because they're getting the most recent, right?
right, exactly, yep.
I love it.
This one, I think this slide was on here. I don't know. So I'm just going to fly through this one a little bit. This is how our Smart Start onboarding looks. You know, come on, have a demo, take a look. When you sign up, just know that with all of this, we're going to take care of you. We're going to do a lot more one-on-one sessions to dive in specifically to why you bought Liongard. We can customize it based off of your stack because there's a lot of different ways, you know, that people are managing their MSPs nowadays. Different PSAs, RMMs are different, all those different tools. We have clients that have servers. You have clients that have no servers and are completely serverless, and we have the ability of still tapping into those environments, you know, safely and being able to pull that data. So we're just going to dive right into one-on-ones and really help you out. And then you'll have someone like myself, you know, who's here along the way to kind of help hold your hand and make sure things are going well with Liongard to answer questions. But just want to kind of give you all a quick view of kind of how this might look.
So something I want to bring up, we have Ty Smith, who is in charge of technical content specialist on the education team. He's in the green room, and he brings up, you don't have to go into the Liongard platform, but you'll want to after you see it. So I thought it was worth bringing up. And you know, we will be doing a demo of the platform here. So for those that haven't seen it yet, we'll definitely have it up shortly.
Yep. So I'll pop to next. You can always go to liongard.com, request a demo, but I'm going to show you a nice one right now to help you all out. All right. The flip, that works. I think everyone can view that pretty well.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
good.
All right. So this is what the Liongard demo instance looks like. And I believe that I recognize some names out there. So I believe we do have some Liongard customers that are watching. So they'll enjoy. So yeah, this is the main dashboard. So there's 108 total environments. So I'm just going to go over some terms. That's our clients, right? You just put a fully managed customer in. We call them an environment. The amount of total systems that are being inspected and covered with Liongard. Now our alerts, we have a lot more in here because we're not actively working them, but we'll show you the alerts. And then we have a lot of automation that can help discover systems out there. So this is where the total discovered systems are. And you know, one example that we have from a partner is they took on a new client. We have automation that will help go into the environment. You know, you load it on the server, we'll help go scan the environment to see what's out there. They came to this new MSP because their IP addresses were disappearing. They thought they had a major security breach. Their previous MSP had no answers for them. So they left, came to a Liongard customer, deployed our agent, ran our inspections. They found that they did a renovation where they left a printer plugged in behind a wall, and it was eating up their IP addresses.
Oh, wow.
weirdest thing. But without Liongard saying, hey, you have this many printers, and they're like, no, we don't. Like, yeah, you do. This is what we're seeing. It's a great way of being able to go in and say, you can worry that you don't have the security risk. You just have mismanagement. And why would you leave a printer still plugged in? What's going on here? You know, it really just gave a lot of confidence right away.
Of all the things to be worried about in your walls, like
right,
printer,
right.
That's like the worst scary. Like that's a B scary movie, if there ever was one.
Well, some people are scared of printers, so keep those printers in the in the closets like the skeletons. Yeah,
I'm all for that. We have Cliff Peterson from IT Pool Party. We've been with Liongard forever. Used 10% of what it can do, and it saved us many times. That history is invaluable. That's good. That's good feedback, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Smile on my face to hear that, Cliff. Thank you. Printer in the restroom. I don't know if I want to answer that one.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know what else.
He's dedicated to his work. You know, he wants to do his work all the time.
I mean, if you can take a headset into the restroom, I don't see why you can't have a printer there waiting for you.
That's true. So, Liongard, let's go into our favorite kind of demo instance, Contoso Nation. So I'm going to start with I'm going to start with a simple and basic one. Whoops. Domains, right? Everyone probably out there is managing a domain. And this is a good way of just showing the information Liongard's going to give you. 18 months of history on a timeline here. You know, you can go back in time with the calendar. You can already see our change detection showing changes happening, because we know that with domains, sure, no one's ever lost the DNS. Sure, no one's ever had their IP address point in a different direction from the registrar.
Never
You
had that happen.
know, no. Ty Smith, who's here, actually he was a technician, and he had a big customer who lost their DNS records. This was a couple years ago. He spent 2 months of time working to find that. And he said he would rather take his tongue over a cheese grater than ever have to do that again.
Wow.
Right. And it's all billable, or it's all hours that were not billable, right? Because he had to fix
Right.
something. So pull your
Yeah.
technician away from profit driving work. Liongard is pulling back all your DNS information. If you lose this, if your registrar points something in a different direction, just go run this inspector. We're going to repopulate and find all that information for you within 5 minutes.
Or that web
Or-
developer modifies DNS and the email stops working.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
We've
There's
never been there, right?
constantly things that can be changing. SPF, DMARC.
Mhm.
I'm a Canadian that lives in Tampa now. SPF does not just mean, you know, sunscreen. There's other important aspects to it. But
So
we are.
and that's just to tie
Yeah.
into some topical stuff. One of our reports that we did on MSP Dispatch on Tuesday, and we did some. We're actually doing more interviews today on, was the recent SMTP to go. There's some question around whether it's a vulnerability or not, but basically, if you're using the old methods for enabling your email with them, you are subject to spoofing. If you use their new method, it's not. And one of the questions brought up was, okay, well, how can we go through and figure out who's using the CNAME method versus who's using the SPF method? But I'm looking at something like this, and if you have all the data's all centralized and you can do reporting on it, finding that out would be fairly simple, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Just
And
getting the right queries, right?
right, exactly. The data we are pulling back, there's 100 megabytes of data we pull back, and
Mhm.
we're not even showing everything. So kind of what you're saying, there's a lot of data. We pull it back in a JSON data print. There's a lot of stuff in here that we're not even populating up into the overview in DNS. You know, we've built Liongard with feedback of MSPs constantly, and we have a metrics library that you can custom build things. So finding the data is really just about two different ways. You can table it and find it, but there's a lot of customization to be able, again, pinpoint that data you're looking for, to be able to pull that up and populate it for you.
Awesome.
So another one I'll go into from Contoso Nation, as you see, there's kind of lots of ways you can bounce around Liongard. Is Active Directory. So this one here, again, we're showing that timeline and giving a lot of great information. You can create a note. You can add, that human intelligence on top of, our own intelligence that we're finding to put key information in there. But we're going to pull back some of this key information, your total users, privileged, stale users. Again, hackers aren't hacking in. They're logging in with a lot of times stale users and just brute password attempt. We'll give you stale computers, that are out there, because inventory management, I'm sure, is super easy with things constantly moving around and what's out there. Your password policy. And then you can dive deeper into your users to find specifically who are those stale users. Again, are there brute password attempts going on? Whoops. I did this with a partner last week, and I'm not going to say who, but let's say we went into stale users and we saw that there was 154 incorrect password attempts in the last week. And he's like, I thought I had an alert on this. And I'm like, this is why Liongard's a best friend to what you guys are dealing with and girls, because there's just so much. And he was like, this is fun. And right away, like, he already was able to help with a security threat and something that's just so simple, right? But it's just, again, hard to manage when you're dealing with so much.
Yeah.
Give you group information that you can dive into. Again, dive deeper into those computers or servers that are within the system, see how they're going. Group policies. We set policies. We want to make sure that they are adhered to. Against more domain, all this depth of information, like a data Sunday, whatever you want, it's all going to be in here. You lose it, you can confuse of where it goes. You know, Liongard's probably going to have that for you.
Wow.
Now,
so I'm getting a question. He has to remain anonymous, but I'm getting a question from one of the communities. Why is Liongard misspelled? Why is it G-A-R-D instead of G-U-A-R-D?
Is it misspelled? I don't. You know, the English language is a unique thing, and that's a good question. I really don't know that answer. I'm gonna have to find out why it's not. Ty, this is where I need Ty.
There you go. Let's get Ty on the screen. Ty, do you have any deeply technical educational answer for this?
I do. I was actually typing up a response there. So at the time when the company was created, appending guard onto the end of your name was just kind of a thing.
Okay.
There were a handful of companies that did that. Our founder, his wife actually owns a safari company in Africa. And they were on a safari, and he saw a lion. He said, "Well, man, that lion is very majestic. I'd like to name my company after a lion." And then again, because companies were just sort of tagging that onto the end, he thought, "Oh, Liongard, I got it." And so there you go. That's where we. That's how we landed where we're at now.
That is cool. I love that. All right, so I appreciate the history lesson there. Thanks, Ty. I appreciate it. I'll kick you back off to the. I know Ty's in the green room. He's playing with the portal. He's so in love with the portal right now. So that's where he has his fun. So now we know.
Thank you, Ty. That really helped me out. So something else I want to show, this timeline feature, right? That Cliff mentioned. You get an audit, you got to go back in time. You know, this is a great way to be able to go back and again, have exactly what it is. So March 22nd. So the one I have marked down. Going back is going to give us all that data. Oh shoot, did I pick the wrong one? March 22nd. Yes. There is. Oh, it's because it's 2022. Get back to March 22nd, 2021. All right. It's not getting there for me. What I want to show is all of these timeline changes. The main point is you're going to be able to go back. Sorry, am I clicking? You're going to go back. We'll say
actually,
12/9.
Ben, if you don't mind, Dallin said he came a little late. He wants us to just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
He's a good friend, so I think we're just going to start fresh. Welcome everybody to Partner for. No, for those that are joining a little bit late. For those that are joining late, this is recorded live on you, and it will be on YouTube immediately after this. So please, yeah, Simon in the background, he's freaking out, like not again. No. But yeah, I mean, and the video a little earlier on had contact information to reach out to Ben and the team at Liongard for demos and stuff. So be sure to watch that if you're joining late.
All right. So what I was just going to quickly show here is just your ability to go back in time. See, you know, John Wayne was added as a new user, and it's just that quick ability to go back to, again, 12/9/2021 and be able to see something from that date. You know, not being able to is a scary, scary kind of aspect of when you get audited, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to go back. I don't want to do that research, right? So very powerful.
Okay.
Now alerts, right? We're documenting all of these things, pulling back config only details. We have alerts built in when we see things changing that are important for you.
If you don't mind, Ben, Ty wants to bring up something really quick about the timeline. I told you he was playing with the portal. He's having fun with it. So you want to know.
So just quickly wanted to mention, and certainly don't want to steal Ben's thunder in any way, but how many times have you had a person call and say, hey, I've got this problem on a server. I've got this problem on a workstation. I've got this problem on a device. And you respond and say, okay, great. When did that start to happen? About 4 weeks ago. Thanks for nothing, right?
Yeah.
I really would have appreciated you calling 4 weeks ago so I could have
I didn't want to bother you, so I didn't tell you until now.
That's right. Liongard's timeline, because you can go back 4 weeks, you can get an idea of what it actually looked like when the problem created. Right. So as you start to add those change detections into your timeline, customer says, hey, this started happening 4 weeks ago. You revert the timeline back 4 weeks. You take a look and you can then get a list of, hey, here are the things that happened roughly 4 weeks ago. So imagine just how invaluable that is from a forensic standpoint, right? Just having that ability to kind of dig in. How great would it be for a CSI person to be able to walk in and see exactly what a crime scene looked like before the crime? That's essentially what Liongard does for you.
I mean, my favorite is always, this isn't working. I swear I didn't change anything. Nothing's different. like, come on.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's
the equivalent of I never download anything.
That's right. Those change detections, that timeline feature can definitely help you combat that exact sort of issue.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That absolutely makes sense. So as long as they don't say anything older than 18 months, you're golden. Come back.
Golden.
So I get you have, okay, so here's the question. I get you have the changes at the points in time. Are you able to show, like, I guess the equivalent would be like a diff, right? If you're doing like a win diff for two different configs, are you able to show like what the difference was this day compared to this day, or is it just in sequence?
Yeah, I didn't know if Ty was going to go there. Yes, you can show two different points in time and the difference
Very
through
cool.
there. Yep, absolutely.
I'm gonna get rid of half my staff and just do this instead. I mean, that's...
Well, and Ray, if we think about that a little bit, again, remember this all started from that root point of automated documentation, right? So we're going to go capture that config every single day. Well, it didn't take long for us at Liongard to go, okay, why are we not just comparing these two things that we pulled and saying, hey, here are the differences, right? So it was honestly kind of a natural progression to move from that automated documentation into change detections, into alerting, right? But it all starts with the power of that data, again, being pulled daily and being pulled into that one location.
Okay. So you're pulling data from all these disparate sources daily. So are you committing those changes? Are you committing that data to the repo, even if a change hasn't been made, or are you just doing it on the deltas? You're doing it on everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
We grab it every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And part of the, where I was going to go is show the actionable alerts, how that changing can help alert you and kind of give you that focus on those key areas that you kind of need. So for Active Directory, a good example that you'd want to be alerted on is changes to your privileged users. You want to be maybe alerted through your PSA on when there's a new privileged user. But what you maybe want to put on the timeline is just when a new regular user is added, because maybe you don't want a ticket for that. So that's really good to help with the auditing to see the added or removed in Active Directory. But privileged users, you can turn into an alert that shows up to give you that information.
And where can the alerts go to? Is this email, webhook, SMS, carrier pigeon?
You have the ability to keep it in Liongard. We can push it over to your PSA. We have integrations with majority of the PSAs nowadays. If we do not have an integration, you can have it flow over to your PSA with your, Ray at whatever it is, so it still gets into the service board that way.
Printerinthewall.com. Gotcha.
Printerinthewall.com. Yep. So those are all the ways that you can get that information over there to be able to manage this properly. And again, we're doing it from multiple different systems, so you don't have different inputs, flying into your PSA and kind of getting that inconsistency.
And there you go. Dallin got the reference. The RFC 2549, which is IP over avian. I know there's two with pigeons. One is IP over avian carrier, and I forget the other one.
I was slinging servers, managing, so that one went right over my head with that carrier pigeon. Yes,
we're the network geeks. That's why we got to know this stuff.
Brute force attempts with Active Directory. We can give an alert to As I mentioned, RDP port. If you have it on the workstation, we can let you know when it's enabled or not. There's a lot of great stuff that's constantly changing out there that we can help, again, just give you alerts to, so you can kind of trust it. And you'll almost start being proactive with this, because you'll get an alert for something before your customer even realizes maybe something's an issue. And that's the whole point, right? Is giving that customer that better value with the data, add that analytics to it all, and really kind of help out.
That makes sense.
So I showed you a little bit how we can go in depth to DNS, a little bit how we can go in depth to Active Directory. Let's say that in the middle of the day, Ray's the boss, I'm the technician, and Ray's like, Ben, I just got a call from a customer who's pissed off because the domain expired. I thought we had alerts. I thought we had this managed. It's domain. It's the most basic thing. Like, you can't get this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it happens, right? It's just, there's bugs in the RMM. There's bugs in alerts. It happens. So because I'm a good employee here, I'm going to say, you know what, Ray, let me go check across all of our customers, across all of our 118 domains. And I can confidently say, you know what, Ray, shoot, we have one right now. This is probably it. Let me go and get on this. I'm also going to get rolling on these other 6 or 8, because we're supposed to be alerted 15 days before they're expired. Clearly that's not there. So let me get going. We'll give you the registrar MX. If you want to check to see if there's SPF, certain records on there, you can add all of it in and quickly audit all your systems right here. Now, because we're all the type of people that probably go above and beyond, we know it's not just domain, it's also your cert, right? Holy cow. You know what? I'm glad that this customer hasn't called us, because we're a couple years that they've been collecting customer information and don't have an updated one. So we can quickly, again, give you information just like that across 118 domains and 88 different certificate or SSL certs, to be able to make sure that our customers are not taking credit card and customer information and just leaving it out there, right? They go
And
hand
like
in
all
hand.
important work by technicians, the point is to not make the CEO look bad in front of the client.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are 2 quick ways that I can quickly assess data across all of our customers. Now, you want to think of something else even more, is Windows, patches. Patches always go through properly. No.
Of course. Yeah.
But who's keeping an eye on your RMM? Who's keeping an eye to make sure? That's where Liongard's here to help. There was the Razer mouse last year that when it would plugged in, it would give the local access rights to.
Yeah, gave you shell, gave you shell access.
Oh my goodness, quality assurance out the window.
Oops. Yeah.
If you got to go and find out, and you say, hey, we got to get a patch through, you can go here and find that specific KB or that specific patch that maybe you built for it, and just double check yourself and make sure across all your servers, that the right patches were through. There's a lot of awesome
you're
data you
taking
can
software inventory also off the workstations and servers and that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I've showed quite a bit of stuff. Is there any questions out there? I don't think anything someone wants to see specifically. Data we're pulling. We have the ability to build reports.
Let's see here. All expenditure needs to improve the acquisition or retention of clients. Improving the boss's image hopefully helps the latter. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, helping the boss improves the bottom line.
Right.
So you had stuff listed there. I saw cloud services listed there. Is that using an agent on a local device reaching out to the cloud? Is that using a native connector to APIs? How are you doing that exactly?
So a couple different ways. It depends what that vendor kind of opened up for us. But we are, again, putting an agent for on-prem on their agent domain controller and then running inspections that way. If it's a serverless customer, again, we're going to have you self-host to be able to run it. And we're pulling these back via API, PowerShell, SSH, and pulling the data back differently. So 72 different systems we can easily pull back. If I give you the stack view, here's cloud. So if I go into Acronis, which is one of our brand new ones that we just started launching. Ty, I don't know, I haven't double checked this. Yes. Okay. We are pulling back. So we're going to start pulling back information. Cronus, again, we just started launching right here. Under our documentation, support documentation, this is where we're going to give the self-help and a lot of deep extra data into what your exactly kind of your question. So if I go to Cronus, this is going to give me information, how we're pulling it, the information, how you can support it, parent-child relationship, yes. So what that means is you have a new customer and they're the child under, Cronus, we will recognize that and auto discover that. So all you have to do is activate it.
So something I want to bring up, and actually let's bring Ty up for this question as well. From Cliff Patterson, from Cliff Peterson, Liongard training resources and academy or something. I have to imagine, Ty, since you're in charge of technical content in education, there's something. So what are the resources you guys have available?
So academy.liongard.com is probably the absolute best resource there. It is not gated either. You do not have to be a partner to sign up. We do have an Introduction to Liongard course there. So if you're looking for just a sort of a deeper dive into what Liongard can do for you, absolutely sign up for the Academy there and take that Introduction to Liongard course, and that'll give you a really, really good foundation of everything that we can actually do.
And I see Dean mentions there's a great certification path for training with guided video slides and quizzes. So you can get your staff certified with this stuff as well?
Absolutely. It takes about 3 to 4 hours total to get certified. But yeah, it's a fabulous certification course. We've worked really hard at putting that together. We've had wonderful feedback on the Academy specifically. I will say I personally do host weekly continuing education webinars as well. We're actually going to increase that cadence. We're going to start doing probably 2 a week here shortly. But like I said, we definitely have a lot of resources. Because our platform is so complex, the last thing we want to do is sort of just dump you out there and leave you to flounder. So we make sure that we have all sorts of resources to get you up to speed and to make sure that we're taking care of the things that you need to take care of.
Thanks for that. We'll put the link in the chat as well. And we'll put up the banner. It's the academy.liongard.com. And if they want to attend those weekly sessions with you, is that in the Academy, or how do they find the links to that?
So they can reach them by the Academy. They are also on our documentation site. That's actually the first thing that usually gets updated. Yeah, Ben's going to show us there, our webinar resources page there. You'll see we do have a monthly recurring webinar for our monthly feature updates. So we do that the week after we release every month. That's just to say, hey, here's what we changed. Then we have a monthly Q&A with myself and our partner success engineering team. And then, like I said, we have then these recurring sort of ad hoc webinars that are different topics, again, just sort of spread out. Matter of fact, I'm building 2 new webinars as we speak. So constantly adding content there. Again, we just want to make sure that our partners have all the information they need to be successful when using Liongard.
Awesome. We have Dean with one last comment. I think it's a great comment to close on. Don't forget the Liongard Lounge and how responsive the whole team is with the community. What's the lounge he's talking about?
It's our Slack group.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's our Slack group.
Yep, we have our own Slack. We're constantly monitoring that. You'll see our intercom chat there. Ben, if you'll hit that little button, our partner success engineers are always sitting waiting for support tickets to come in. It's a great team. They work really, really hard at answering partner questions. I believe their average CSAT score, I believe, is a 4.89 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, we're super, super responsive, and we definitely pride ourselves on quick responses to the customer.
That's awesome. I love that. And with that, I think that's a great way to close. Ben, Ty, thank you so much, guys, for your awesome information. What are you guys up to next? Or what's next week's training on, Ty?
Next week's Q&A. Next week is our Q&A. Okay. I believe the next non-monthly recurring one is actually using Liongard to standardize, to set your security and service standard, right? Using our actionable alerts feature, you can set up actionable alerts to essentially make sure that you have your security standards and your service standards where they need to be.
Awesome. And what about you, Ben? What do you got coming up?
As account managers, diving into help partners who use this stuff. That's kind of the main thing. You know, there's a lot out there.
Babies and kissing hands. I think that's
Yeah,
how they,
that makes sense.
no, shaking hands and kissing babies. I'm sorry.
He's doing something to something and something else to something else, but he's keeping the partner successful, which is the real important part.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Simon, I know we have some things coming up. What do we got coming up?
Yes, we do. So we just got wrapped up with the Partner First Standardize, Secure, and Scale with Automation with Liongard. If you guys missed anything, Dallin, I know you say you missed part of it. This recording will be available right after this ends. Then tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have the MSP Dispatch Week wrap-up. Stay up to date with all the industry news. And then on Tuesday at 10 a.m., we have the MSP Dispatch of Tuesday. So stay up to date with the news that happened over the weekend. On May 12th at 6:30 p.m. ET, we have the Tech Bar Podcast episode 37 with Alex Farling and Connor Swalm. That should be fun. And then May 18th and May 19th, if you're in the Dallas area, come join us for the 7-Figure MSP live event. We'll be there. Come get some swag. Come shake hands with Matt and Connor. This should be a fun time.
So one last question I want to ask you guys before we let everybody go. When you do the Liongard certification, asking for a friend, do you get a safari hat? Do you know? Maybe?
No, that you get, I don't know if it's fully going live, but there might be a lion bobblehead or something that might be coming around.
I would love that. I'd love to add it to my my. Actually, I do have from, I forget which event. Cynthia gave me I got from the event a Liongard cowboy hat that lights up.
Yes. Oh yeah, yep.
So I have one. I almost had to fight somebody to keep it because it almost got stolen a couple times. But that's
we
awesome.
definitely like having fun. That's for sure.
As do we. So Ben, Ty, thank you so much. The OIT family in the chat, thanks for joining us. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.